All right, so welcome everybody to Balls and Sticks, the podcast here on YouTube, and also we will welcome our guests over, welcome our listeners over in
Podcast land.
podcast land.
Yeah.
So, Mike, how are you doing this week?
I'm good. I don't work Fridays until July.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. Pulled a book out of yours. Because that's me. Like
You started taking Fridays off?
every year, like it seems like at the end of the year, you're like, well, I'm done working Fridays for blah blah blah, and I'm like, let's go. So, I thought, you know, I'm at the point. If I don't, I start losing. I'll lose it. So, might as well. And I have 2 week-long vacations, and I have, uh, um, uh, I have
You got
two.
Memorial Day coming up.
Yeah, and I
So
have
that's a Monday.
well, and that's a Monday that I have going into that week. Yeah. I'll tell you afterwards. Ask me my schedule, my birthday week. It's ridiculous,
Gotcha.
but
Yeah,
we got a show to do.
we do.
How's
So,
your week going? You asked me how I forgot to ask you.
I
How's your
know.
week?
You know, it's been some 10-hour days at work, getting some extra money and extra pay, but I also got a relative in the hospital. So, but that's an offline topic.
Yeah.
That's an offline. That's an
Yeah.
offline talk. So, so they're still hanging in. They're hanging in there. So we're hoping they get better and they're able to be released.
Okay.
So, well, yeah.
Rich. Speaking of that, we do have a show this week.
We do.
We're gonna head into the NASCAR corner and recap last week's race and look at this upcoming race. We have another race to talk about.
hmm
Is we're gonna talk about the Kentucky Derby. What else we got, Rich?
Well, you know what, Mike? We got to take a look and see how our playoff teams are doing in the NHL and the NBA. And we'll be going on to the baseball diamond to talk of the week in Cubs baseball. But all that and more, Michael. What do we got to do
We're gonna
first?
go ahead and roll that intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. Okay, Rich, before we get into any of it, we got a poll question. And for the listeners, if you follow the poll question at all, we did have a tie when we first looked at it. I went upstairs and asked my wife right before she fell asleep. So that's why Balls and Sticks has voted on it. We had a tiebreaker. And it's not the way I voted, Rich.
Okay.
So,
Interesting to see.
this week's activities were Dancing in the Rain versus Easter Egg Hunt. I know it's a week after Easter,
Hmm?
but which did you vote for, Rich?
You know what, Mike? Even though last week when we were together and talking about the poll question of dancing in the rain, I said that, you know what, I just don't like getting wet. And, but you can dance in the rain anytime that it rains. Typically, you're only going to have an Easter egg hunt about 3 times, maybe tops.
Yep.
Either before on Easter or the week after or the week before, depending on if you have split families or you're getting together with having multiple gatherings for Easter.
Hey, you
Around.
can go to public ones.
You can.
Which we did. We went to a public one. There were 3 the day before Easter, and there were like 2 the day of Easter. You could go to 6. And that
But
just,
still, it's only about one around the one time a year. I'm not saying that you do it 3 times. I'm saying, but it's usually around like 3 times in the year, and that's either the week before, possibly the week after, or the day of,
okay.
or the weekend
Yep.
of the Easter egg hunt. And I guess sometimes the Easter egg hunt gets so much pressure put on it, especially when it's the little kids. It's like, oh, Easter egg hunt. let's go find the
bro,
eggs.
bro, you did not come with me. So I went on the Easter egg
I
hunt.
know.
I
I
went on the
know.
Easter egg hunt with my son.
Let me finish. Let me finish
Okay,
here.
you go.
You kind of get that sometimes with like the let's go find the eggs, and then you also as the kids get older and you still have the Easter egg hunt, then you get into the kind of like the annoyed the annoyed teenager or preteen. Do we really have to keep doing this? So just people putting way more expectations or on an Easter egg hunt. That's all.
No, I totally agree. Here's the deal.
But and by all means,
I,
when we have a kid, yeah, we'll do an Easter egg hunt. We will.
I feel
That's
like
just what you do, but
I
not
feel like I
placing
did
so
the
much of
Easter
an
egg.
emphasis on it.
I feel like I did the Easter egg hunt correctly in when I went to the public one.
Mm-hmm.
I went and hung out, chatted up other parents that were around us. They tore down the thing. I said, "Go ahead, little man." He went and gathered them up, and he was having fun. He walked and
Mm-hmm.
then started crawling. And I just stuck right by him to make sure nobody ran him over, did any of that stuff. He got 5, maybe 6. And I grabbed him and then I said, "You're done." And there were parents like, "Oh, there's more. There's still out there. You gotta get." No, I don't care. Did you get some? Did you have fun while we did it? He's not gonna eat the candy.
Mm-hmm.
Might not get any of the stickers. Okay. Like, maybe it's because we are very strict on our kids and we don't let them just have candy willy nilly, and they get maybe one treat a day at best. And it's if they do really well and they behaved, and that's generally not going to be candy. So for me, it's not a big deal. But I did vote for Easter egg hunt because I really did enjoy watching my son get to do the Easter egg hunt, both the public and the private ones that we did. It was fun. Okay, Rich, where did you vote? You were talking about how you too much pressure on the Easter egg hunt.
So I went dancing in the rain because there's
Okay.
way more opportunities
Yep.
to do that.
Yep. No, I get it. Yeah, and I did such a nice job talking about how great Dancing in the Rain is over the last when it lost or when it won.
When it won when it won the first round matchup. So yeah, we have an upset.
Yeah. So the winner, the losing voters are me and Sue Hart, and the winning voters are my wife, Ron Lehmans, and Rich Hendricks. So you, Rich, not your uncle.
Yeah, I know.
But he could vote too. And if he wanted to vote, how would he do that?
You can look for the poll on our Facebook page, Fans of Balls and Sticks, or Balls and Sticks.
Okay.
So our poll next week will be our 2-7 matchup, which will see bird watching and hiking.
Okay.
Bird watching, hiking. I'll try and get that online tomorrow.
Yeah.
So be watching for that.
That's gonna be a good one.
All right, Mike. Do you see what's coming up next?
Rich, is it perhaps a turn that goes in a leftward way direction?
It is. And what's after that?
It's another left turn, Rich, and why is that?
Well, Mike, because we're going to go into the NASCAR Corner. The NASCAR Corner is presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. They're down on 5th Avenue in Moline, Illinois, and you can also find them on their eBay store, Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, for your sports cards and memorabilia needs. So, Mike, last week we were in Talladega for the Jack Links 500, and
Yep.
Mike, I was so tired, I think I slept through this entire race.
Yep, I can see it. It's one of those races that's easy to sleep through, so I'm not even shocked.
Yeah, I think started dozing off once Brad Keselowski, my pick for the race, thrashed out and finished dead last because of an accident. So, Mike, by default, no matter how Michael McDowell did, you were going to get the point. So he finished 15th, which is pretty good for super speedway,
Yeah. Yeah.
because anything can happen. So Mike, you closed the gap to 6-4, and your winner was Austin Cindric. And really, the in between what happened with Brad Keselowski crashing and Austin Cindric winning, I have no idea what happened in between
Yeah,
because I think I saw maybe like the last 5 laps.
yeah, and that's
That was it.
you know, um, super speedways can be that way. That's the hard part with super speedways. They can kind of, as much as they are the most nail biting uh, of races, because a they can have the biggest crashes. They can also, if it doesn't happen, it's just a boring race. So, okay, Rich. So this week I am with honors. We are going to Texas.
Hmm.
That is a track I think you should go to. Like legit, we should go and camp and hang out.
It's a pretty straightforward drive too, just on I-35. We passed it when we were going to the when we were going down to see Mark and Alicia down in Austin
Nice.
one year. I think we pulled off, and that was the Bucky's that we decided to stop at. And then all of a sudden, you see there, oh, there's the NASCAR track.
And
Look at that.
there's a Bucky's like a mile away. It's great. So, um, the hard part is that my wife, I don't know that she'll ever come with us to a NASCAR race. I think, like, again, I keep telling her, if you go, it'll be a different experience. It changes your view of NASCAR. But we'll see.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. My wife had a good time. It was her second race when I went to Kansas 2 years ago. So I'm looking forward to getting back to a race. We just don't know which one,
Yeah.
which one it's going to be. We'd like to go to a track we haven't been to yet, and we're thinking it might have to be Tennessee because we want to go to Tennessee. So
So
just
go to Bristol.
yeah, so it could be Bristol or Nashville.
Yeah. Um, I mean, we could do Iowa.
Could do Iowa if you can get those tickets.
Yeah.
Those are hard tickets to get.
Yeah. Are they? I'm gonna look it up on Ticketmaster. But Rich, tell the people what they need to know about the race for this week in Texas. Who you like? What kind of drivers are you looking for? What is the key for it?
I really don't know. They in doing some minimal reading about how to set the fantasy lineup. It seems like Texas is kind of a little bit of a wild card, to where it's hard to tell what could happen. So I don't have the honors this week, Mike. So who is your pick for Texas?
I'm gonna go with William Byron. Guy
All
has a good
right,
history
so
there.
he does. He's in my fantasy lineup, but I'm gonna use it in trying to to pick a different driver every single week and not repeat. I'm gonna go with someone that may not win the race, but I'm hoping can at least finish higher than William Byron, and I'm gonna go Carson Hocevar. He's had some top 10 finishes in Texas, or at least top 15s in Texas. So that's what I'm gonna go with, and I'm just gonna bank on that with Texas kind of being a wild card type track that he can finish higher than William Byron.
Okay. Hopefully you're wrong.
You know what? And if I'm wrong, and if I'm right, and if I am wrong, you know what? I still have a 6-5 lead, and I can go back to maybe picking someone that actually has a chance to win next week when they are out down in Texas. So Mike, what'd you find out about those tickets for the
I
Iowa Speedway?
You can't find them.
Exactly. I keep hearing that if you play Powerball, you can enter second chance races to get into the Iowa Speedway.
Oh. What? Tent camping isn't even like wow. So I just wanted to look at tent camping.
Not an option.
You are not even you can't even see the track. RV Terrace is sold out. RV Terrace Hill is sold out. Yeah, it is just a sold out track. Okay.
All right, Mike. So we're gonna keep making left-hand turns, but we're not gonna do them in the car. Well, before we leave, Mike, give our sponsor one last shout out
Actually, I
before we
have.
keep
There's
making left
news.
turns.
There's news.
Oh,
Um.
what news is that, Mike?
Da, da, da. I thought there was a thing that came out about it. That front row, there was a positive thing that happened with front row, and
Not that I've seen.
I thought I had seen. Maybe not. Okay. Oh, yeah, Front Row Motorsports wins a $2.1 million lawsuit over NASCAR's charter deal.
Hmm.
The team bought the charter for $2 million. BK promised the charter was free of debt, but so Front Row bought one from BK Racing for $2 million, and BK Racing claimed it was debt free. The bank still owned it. It was still owed $9 million and had a lien on the Okay, so BK Racing, that's the one that they won. Okay.
Hmm.
So, 2.1 million plus interest. There you go. So,
All right, Mike, give our unofficial sponsor one more shout out.
this has been the NASCAR Corner, presented as always by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs on 5th Avenue in Moline or on their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Rich, let's keep going left and talk Kentucky Derby. They do okay?
Yep. Yeah, you do.
Okay.
All right, yep. The race for the roses, I think normally happens around 5 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah.
5:30 Central Time.
Yep.
We normally follow the Triple Crown races and pick a winner just like we do with our NASCAR drivers.
Try to every year.
And the name that stood out to me, trying to pick a one that had good odds, and I'm going to go with Sandman.
Okay.
Name only, thinking of the Metallica song Enter the Sandman, so I'm going to go with the Sandman.
Yeah, I like that one. I wanted to pick that one, but you had picked it already, so I will give it up. I wanted it because I wanted to honor everybody's favorite Saturday Night Live alum, Adam Sandler. Maybe not everybody's favorite, but definitely my favorite. But instead, I did about 2 seconds worth of research, and there's another guy who is likely to follow Sandman through the race, use him as a pace horse, but has a stronger back end, and that is Sovereignty. So I'm going to pick Sovereignty, hopefully to knock you out. Not that this one matters for anything.
No, it doesn't. So we'll recap and circle back around to the Kentucky Derby on next week's show, and then we'll put horse racing back on the back burner until it's time for the Preakness.
You mean you don't want to talk horse racing every single week?
No, I'm sorry.
I can't imagine, like, I know that they exist, and I understand it as a thing. But come on now. Like, how do you do a podcast about horse racing every week? and there's people that do it. And there's plenty to talk about because they have 1,000 races a week that you could talk about. But how do you know which ones are the ones that are important?
I don't know.
Like, I know that there's like I don't know that each week has a important race, but I don't like. I just genuinely don't know. So, anyway, with that, Rich, let's go ahead and keep making left turns on dirt, but this time, make it in a way that we know something about. And let's talk baseball.
That's right. So, Mike, this week the Cubbies had 2 with the Phillies, went up to Pittsburgh and had 1 and just had a game up in Milwaukee before that went final before we hit the go live button. So, Mike, they dropped those 2 games to the Phillies, losing the series 1 game to 3. But for our show to show, they lost both of them. Mike, they won 2 of 3 in Pittsburgh, and they won tonight up in Milwaukee, giving them a 3-2 record for the week.
Okay. It was rough. I thought they would have gotten at least 1 with the Phillies. That's to me where they should have gotten the one win that they didn't get should have come from, one of the two out of the Phillies. But the Phillies are a great team, so I'm not mad that they didn't win it. But I was expecting to win 2 out of 3 with the Phillies. We dropped it and won one out of 3, which is okay. I think we could have swept the Pirates, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right, Meatloaf?
Mm-mm. No, it's not. And you go up and take the first game decisively up in Milwaukee tonight, 10-0.
Is that a dangerous thing though?
I don't think so. It shows that they're hitting the ball really well. PCA is really strong. They finally moved Dansby Swanson down in the order, and he had a nice game on Friday. So I'm liking their chances going into the upcoming week. With 2 against Milwaukee, finishing the weekend up in Milwaukee, coming back down to Wrigley to face the Giants for 3 games during the week before going out to Queens to take on the Mets. So, Mike, with those games in mind, with the way that the offense seems to be going, and how well the pitching doing decent.
Yep.
I'm going to give them 4 games.
We didn't talk about. We still need to talk about some news from the week, though.
Okay, we'll circle back around it. Don't worry.
Okay, because that's an important one.
It is.
You're talking about pitching. There's some important stuff to talk about with pitching. And because of that, I'm going to only give them 3.
We'll give them 3. Okay. And obviously, Mike, if you were going to be on the air side and say, you know what, they're going to get 4, I was going to take 3, just to be different All right, Mike. So you mentioned pitching. What do you mean by? Whoa, we got to talk about the pitching. We're talking about pitching in general.
Imanaga, man.
Okay, what about him?
Those those leg cramps. That again. The only reason it makes me nervous, it's early in the season. The temperature's still not terrible. What's going to happen in July, August, late June, when it's 100 degrees outside? How's that going to hold up?
I don't know, but the only thing that pops into my mind, the split-second reaction is, you know what? Make sure he's drinking his Gatorade, or get him some Element or salt packets.
Bananas.
To make sure that he's staying hydrated and is not cramping up. But he still went 5 innings. He still had a quality start and went 5 innings before he had to be before getting pulled from the game for precautionary reasons. And he's going to make his next start on Sunday against the Brew Crew.
Yeah, and I'm totally game for it, but I'm nervous. It makes me leg cramps is one of those things that can cause bigger problems. And especially when you're talking about a guy who who when it's this early in the season, this is what makes me nervous. So, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. So the other kind of tidbit of news that came out of especially that game in Pittsburgh, was at the Tuesday night game when a young man,
Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday. But either way, go ahead and
either
tell
way,
the story.
young man fell from the Roberto Clemente wall, which is a 21-foot wall
Yeah.
in the right field bleachers out in Pittsburgh.
We're not showing it on the air on here, not because not the copyright stuff. I don't care. We don't get paid for the show. We don't care. But moreover, it's just gruesome. Like, it's gnarly.
Yeah, I think I had a coworker ask me that. I think she asked me, did you see the game last night? I said they had the same amount. No, I think if it was on a Tuesday night, I think I remember it. No, it was I was at Bible study on Tuesday night, so no, I didn't see the game, and I also said, I'm just too cheap to pay for marquee, so
I um
so I wouldn't have seen it, or I didn't hear Pat and Ron kind of try to describe it or talk about it.
yeah, I don't. I'm thinking about paying for it. FYI, like I'm genuinely thinking about paying for the subscription. Um,
Yeah, and I have thought about it, but if of $20, is it monthly? 'Cause I know it's not a yearly, but $20 a month isn't terrible.
right.
But with the amount of day games that they play, I'm just not sure if I get my money's worth out of it.
Wednesday night. Wednesday night, by the way.
Hmm.
It was Wednesday night's game.
Yeah, I don't remember what I was doing Wednesday night.
Yeah. Wednesday night's game.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't remember what I was doing Wednesday night, other than kind of working late and then coming home and spending time with the missus.
You were
But
spending
yeah,
quality time with your wife,
I
which is
was.
what you should be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes your wife likes to spend quality time listening to the Cubs game, which is nice. But
Oh yeah. But yeah, we were spending some time together relaxing, which didn't include having the Cubs game on.
and that's okay.
It is. Certainly is.
Okay.
So, but in watching the highlights, watching some YouTube videos of it, I mean, it was an exciting part of the game, as that was a pivotal point in the game, or a turning point of the game, as Pat Hughes likes to call them. And it put the Pirates up, giving them the go-ahead runs that ended up being the winning runs. But in the way it looks like it almost looks like he was kind of like flipping over, and like he meant to jump down from that, with the way he was reaching back.
Yeah, I kind of
But
wonder.
there are no like close up videos. It's all fan recording rec- recording it, and kind of like realizing what they had when it happened.
Yeah. I wonder on it. As you say that, I wonder if that was the goal. I mean, he was doing a frat thing. It's a 20-year-old in college. Could he have been getting ready to jump over to do the to run on the field? And if so, yeah.
I mean, regardless of the reasoning, whether it looked somewhat intentional, or he was a little bit inebriated and did it, or if it
It's still
if it
scary.
was, or if it just was a purely boom, he jumped up and down because it was a pivotal, exciting part of the game, and he went over the wall, and him what's looking like him flipping is maybe him trying like to catch himself so he doesn't fall down this 21-foot wall.
Yeah.
Either way, I mean, the kid's in critical condition with a fractured skull. He had to be carted off the field. He wasn't helped off the field.
Nope. No, it was bad. It was
It was.
real bad. Like, it was. It's scary. Like, legit scary. So, yeah. It makes you really.
Yeah, and on like the good the while we were before we went live on it, I was trying to find something on it to at least see it and look at it. And one of them was kind of like a Good Morning America piece, and them talking
Yeah.
about the safety measures that baseball has implemented across the minor leagues and the major leagues of putting up netting around from foul pole to foul pole.
But,
But you can't do that with you can't necessarily do that with outfield seating.
right. The other side is. I don't know. That protects you from a ball hitting you in your face. I guess it technically would keep you from falling over, but I mean, come on now.
I know. I mean, are you going to start seeing row one? The new row one will be row three, so you're not as close to the wall to say that, so you can't necessarily interfere with balls, or you really got to throw it if you're going to reach the field. If you're going to throw something from the outfield onto the field, is that going to start? But I mean, Wrigley Field has the basket all around the outfield wall, and that was put into for fan safety. So are you going to have to start seeing baskets across all the seating in the outfield? I hope not. I really hope not. 'Cause I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know how
I
many
can't
times
come
I
up with
think,
a good way to make that be the right way to do it. I
yeah,
don't know that if
I
there
hope
is
that's
one.
not the case, because how many times do you see an opposing team's home run? Well, it goes into the basket. It's like a stupid basket.
Yeah,
Stupid basket.
yeah. I just
So I hope that's not the answer across the league to put it in a little basket above everybody. I think I'd rather see the first, maybe if you had to eliminate the first two rows
yeah.
of the eliminate the first two rows
Do you
in the
eliminate,
outfield seating.
or do you what you could do legitimately? Here's a thing that you 100% could do:
Hmm.
eliminate the first row and put a net up there. Connect it to what is the first row. That way, you still can have guys get up and over. And if it hits the net, it counts. If it hits the net directly, it counts as a home run. And then it falls down in front of the people and blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. I don't like any of it. How about let's not serve minors alcohol? I don't know anymore. Anyway,
But yeah, although technically, according to the team, he didn't seem intoxicated. They didn't say he wasn't drinking, but they said he wasn't drunk.
um, yeah, I don't know. I wonder, like, what's the blood alcohol range? Here's the thing: every stadium says they never overserve. Rich, how many games have you and I been to together? 100?
I don't know if it's quite 100, but we've been to fairly good amount.
We've been to the dozens. You can say multiple. I have to say it's been multiple dozens.
Yeah.
There's always a guy that's overserved
Hmm.
that still somehow buys a beer from the vendor, right?
Oh yeah, you're not see the beer guy. Yeah, I don't think I have ever seen a beer vendor that's walking the bleachers, walking the field that said, "Hey, nope, you're cut off. I'm not serving you anymore."
Right.
Never
So,
seen that.
so, and I'm not saying that we need to, because, you know, somebody's going to hear this and say, "Oh, that means we need to stop beer vendor. We need to get rid of beer vend." No, don't get rid of beer vendors. Like, I just think you can't tell me that you guys don't overserve. You can't tell me that your vendors are perfect and don't miss a fake ID once in a while.
Or where was the usher maybe that was assigned to this section to see to check an ID to say, "Hey, can I see your ID?"
Yeah.
To see that, hey, obviously with the way you're talking, the way that you're acting, maybe it is time for you to be cut off, or maybe you're not. You may look 21, but you're not 21.
Yeah.
So how did you get, not worrying about how you get the beer, but that you're now cut off?
Yeah. With that, Rich, this week the Cubs are going to play 2 in Milwaukee, 3 against the Giants, and 1 against the Mets. The only thing I can say about this upcoming week, there's light at the end of this week.
There really is, Mike, because once we get through that weekend series with the Mets, we finally get an easy schedule with Miami, Colorado, the Sox,
Yeah.
and the Reds.
Rich, how many teams have the Cubs played that in the start of the series had a
Losing record?
record under 500?
I'm gonna go one team,
You
which
are
was the
correct.
Pirates.
It was the Pirates, the only team we've played with a sub 500. By the way, most of them, so the Phillies are 560, the Mets are 600, the Dodgers are 600, the Padres are 600, the Giants are 594. They're tied with us. The Diamondbacks are 530. Have we played any American League teams?
No.
By the way, the Mariners, who don't we play them in like 2 weeks?
Not quite.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
It's the
so
Marlins.
our May schedule is we get a home and away with Colorado. We get a home and away with um, Miami.
Yeah.
We get a home series with the White Sox, and then we get the Reds
So-
after the Mets. So
yeah.
all teams that are under 500.
Yeah. It's a really tough schedule. Really tough schedule. It's ridiculously how hard this first half of the schedule is. But Rich, we got to know they got 6 games. Oh, we already did that part. Never mind. We did that part.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 4 games.
I'm going to go 3. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go that they split the 2 games. You know what? With the way they're hitting, and I think the way the pitching matchups have been lined up, I'm gonna go with a sweep of Milwaukee. They're gonna take 2 out of 3 in New York. Gonna take 2 out of 3 with the Giants, and I'll go with a flip of a coin against the Mets. The Mets are really good, so I'll give them a loss. So I'll give them those 4 games. I'm gonna take them going with the 4 out of 5 against the Brewers and the Giants. And
Okay.
then if they, in the odd chance that they need the 4th win in New York, maybe they can get it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's going to be a rough. It's still going to be rough, but next week there's hope. I mean, there's still hope. I mean, there's still
Oh, yeah.
there's still almost a 600 team, by the way. In that record, there's still a 594 team.
Mhm.
That doesn't include today's win. They might be over 600 after today.
They might be. All right, Mike.
Let me look.
Anything else?
606 as of right now. 606.
Nice.
So, Yeah. Okay. I don't have any other baseball stuff. So let's talk something we never talk about. NBA and NHL playoffs. Let's start in the NBA, where, Rich, I will remind you as that you picked the Knicks over the Thunder, and I picked the Celtics over the T-Wolves. Rich,
All right.
go ahead.
All right. So the Knicks made it out of the first round with a 4-2 series victory over the Detroit Pistons. And Mike, they will take on your pick of the Boston Celtics in round number 2 as the Celtics beat the Magic 4-1. Schedule is still to be determined, even though the Eastern Conference side of the bracket is set. It is still to be determined. So more on that next week. Over on the Western Conference, Mike, the Thunder swept the Grizzlies to move on to round 2. They'll get the winner of the Nuggets-Clippers game. And Mikey, your Timberwolves, the team that you picked to lose to the Boston Celtics, ended up beating the Los Angeles Lakers 4-1.
Yeah, I was not sure how that was going to go last week. Gentleman's sweep. I'll take it any day. And right now, the Golden State Warriors are behind 108-94 against the Rockets. That's crazy. They led the series 3-1. And man, if the Rockets pull this off, woo! The perennial top, like the top two teams, if you will, of the Warriors, who have been having some faultiness the last couple of years, but overall has been one of the great teams that we've seen over the last decade and a half. And the Lakers that have the crybaby LeBron, and you know what? They got Luka. I was nervous that Luka was going to make a change, make a difference there, and bring things out. But his head coach said something. I think it was in a press conference yesterday to end their season-ending press conference before they go on break, and he essentially said, we got to work on people showing up and being in shape and being ready to go. Luka doesn't put in effort. He has for years. They've talked about the Mavericks team. Ownership loves him, but the team themselves has talked about how Luka doesn't put in the effort. And if your star player isn't putting in the effort, Rich, let's even talk here. We don't have a star. Neither one of us is a star. We both contribute, I think, fairly equally in the show, right? Mm-hmm. If on a given once or twice a week, if once or twice a year, one of us is having a down day and the other one has to pick us up for it, that's fine. Even a down month, okay. But if for an entire year we were doing this show and I barely showed up and I was never ready and I didn't now let's be honest, in all honesty, I don't prep as much as you do for the show on paper, but when we get into the show, half the reason why we go over an hour is because I have rants that are pertinent to the conversation. I still bring something, and I'm prepped because I know the news. I know that this happened. I don't know if you knew that this statement was put out, but I know that it was happened because I am informed. I do things. I prep for the show. I just am not as organized as you at it. I'm still prepped for the show, but it doesn't look like it on paper. So that we get into these conversations, I will have something. We can stretch out a segment that we don't normally do. All this stuff. But if I went an entire year where I was like, yeah, what you said. Sure, Rich. Yeah, I guess I'll pick that guy. I don't know anything. If I didn't do some homework, how likely would you be to continue the show?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons why why
And
the Mavericks traded him.
and so Luka is, you had for years the Mavericks saying, you need to work out. You're a fat tub. You're out of shape. And now you have your LA Lakers coach doing the same thing, and you only came in at the trade deadline?
Hmm.
I love Luka. I think he's probably the most talented player in the NBA right now. I would make that argument. But he doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Could you
Kobe
imagine
wouldn't
it?
have stood for it.
It
Kobe
could,
wouldn't have stood for it. I think
heck no,
LeBron's
yeah.
willing to come around and say, "Oh, he'll be there when it matters most." He'll
Could
be
you
there.
imagine? Could you imagine if Luka actually put in the work in the off season? That man would be unstoppable. Okay. With that, Rich, let's go to NHL. The Golden Knights ended the Wild's bid, and the Oilers closed off the Kings. We're still waiting to hear from the Jets and Blues, and the Stars and the Avalanche. They're both tied at 3 games, so those are still both going to have 2 games before they end the season. So, wow.
So our picks out of that. So Mikey, your pick of the Oilers moved on to the second round. You picked Edmonton to win it all over the Panthers. I picked the Stars, who, as you said, were locked in a 3-3 tie. Mike, how are our Eastern Conference picks of the Maple Leafs and the Panthers doing?
They are facing in the second round, to be determined when that's going to start, I'm guessing. But the Panthers won 4-1, and the Leafs won 4-2.
Ooh, so our teams that we picked to make it to the Cup, at least lose in the Stanley Cup Finals from the Eastern Conference, are playing each other much like our NBA matchup.
Yep.
Well, that'll be interesting to watch.
And the Capitals and the Hurricane are going to start again, TBD. The Capitals won 4-1, and the Hurricanes won 4-1. So that'll be a good that series will be a Quad Cities Peoria type thing. It's a little bit farther. Don't get me wrong; they're a couple hours apart, but they're only a couple hours apart, as opposed to like the Maple Leafs and the Panthers, Canada versus Florida, whereas the Capitals in Washington and the Hurricanes are they in Charlotte?
They are in Raleigh.
They're in Raleigh. Even closer. That's going to be great. That'll be good for them. That's going to be an easy series for travel. Oilers and Vegas are going to have a hard time. That's good. That's, again, another long one. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, with that, Rich, do you have any other topics we have on here that we're going to talk NFL? Anything out of the draft you want to talk about?
You know, I don't think so. I think overall I like the way the Bears finished off the draft.
Yep.
We were only kind of focusing on the first and the second round by the time we talked last week. But I mean, the late round picks aren't that bad. Getting a linebacker, a corner,
and
an offensive tackle, and a dart throw of a running back in the 7th round. I think I would have really liked to have seen him picked up a running back in the 2nd round, but I mean the board just didn't fall that way.
Yeah, I don't mind that. You got to do what you got to do. Whatever. I mean, it's your 5 through 7 are the take a chance, hope to get some development out of it, but most of those guys don't expect to make the team. So
okay. So I know last week we kind of talked about Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
This fall, it stopped in the 5th round, and the destination might not be the best, but I mean, of the teams that needed a quarterback and that were rumored to be drafting him, I think Cleveland does give him probably the best chance of maybe getting some in-game action this year, as you have Joe Flacco, a guy that probably
Turns
should
40
be
this
your
year.
yeah, he's turning 40. He's a backup. If he's starting, he's keeping the seat warm for a draft pick
I mean, he
or
is. He's starting.
which he is.
Yeah, that's where he's at. So,
You have a failed first round quarterback in Kenny Pickett,
yep.
and then you have Dylan Gabriel and Shadir Sanders.
Yeah, so there's 4 guys on that. There's 4 quarterbacks on that in that roster.
Hmm.
The question becomes now. Here's the nice thing for Shedeur Sanders. We know that Cleveland is willing to put up with stupidity and BS. They're
Exactly.
willing to
They
bring
did
on
it.
a circus.
Yeah, they did it with Watson. They did it with Johnny Manziel.
We forget
willing
that
to
we
do it.
forget that Jameis Winston Jameis Winston had essentially a similar circus to Watson a few years prior, and some accusations similar, and they were still willing to bring him on board. It's not looking. I mean, it's a team that I don't really like, and I would not want. I asked myself, if my son got drafted by that team, would I be excited? And I don't know that I would have a hard time doing that, but that's okay. Okay, real quick, anything else in the draft? I mean, I think they got a steal of a pick.
I did, and I just hope that
I think he was a second, maybe third round pick. In any other draft class, he's not a first round pick. In the last 5 years, he would not be a first round pick. Obviously, he wasn't this year, but he wouldn't even have been talked about as a first round pick in most of the rest of the draft over the last 5 years.
yeah, but by all means, I think it's for me, it's kind of crazy that to find out. I kind of like found out that he was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, but his teammate Travis Hunter won the Heisman Trophy. So how is Travis Hunter not the Offensive Player of the Year
that's a
in
good
his
question.
conference? But anywho, I mean, I think was as soon as Dart and Tyler Slow, which went to the Giants, and the Saints got drafted, then it was a question. All right, he's going to be a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem is could someone of his stature and with his dad, who's very still well involved in the media, could you have that big of a circus being a backup?
Yeah. It's a good question.
We'll see. We will certainly see, because if Cleveland starts losing, I wouldn't be surprised to start hearing Dion on his podcast or his TV show saying Shadir's better than the guy they got out there right now. They're already losing. Why not put Shadir in there and see what he can do?
Okay. With that, spoiler alert. We're going to talk about Masked Singer. We got 2 weeks that Rich has to talk about. We have 1 week that I'm going to talk about. And our reaction to all of it in just a second. Before that, I want to tell you that we esports had yet another forfeit this week, so we're 5-2 on the season. We should have a play-in game not this upcoming week, but the week after, and then hopefully we go to state on my birthday. So with that, Rich, if people don't want to listen to the Masked Singer stuff, no problem. We'll see you next week. If you do, stick around. We're going to talk about it right now. And, that's your spoiler alert. We've had warning. If you want to catch us, if you want to pause it or whatnot, sure, go ahead. Otherwise, check us out on Facebook.com/fans of balls and sticks to participate in our poll questions. And see we have the Fans of Balls and Sticks page. We have some active members. We have a couple active members that like to post things regularly. Shout out to Bernie Calkins, who almost weekly posts something on that fans page. We should talk about him more. And I'm gonna make a new segment, the Bernie Calkins corner. We're going to pull.
What did he post this week?
I haven't done it yet. Okay, I'm going to go. Now you're calling me out on it. So let me go to it real quick. Fans of Balls and Sticks page. Let's see. What did Bernie Calkins post this week? Oh, the last one he posted was March 26th. The weirdest Grand Slam in MLB history. The one where they. Okay, this is the a highlight from the. It looks like the Cardinals Nationals. It might have been a few years back, but where Morris thought he hit a home run and it came back in, and the team and they played it, and then they reviewed it, and after the review, they said, yeah, he ends up getting a home run, but they have to, for some reason, everybody had to go back to where they started because they couldn't let, because people had moved around and stuff.
Is that the one where he swung an imaginary ghost bat?
Yep.
So that to simulate the.
Yep.
And then he rounds the bases.
And they all had to round the bases backwards and touch every bag on their way backwards. So, Oh, wait. No, he posted one March 26th. The dugout's reaction is priceless to... This is like an 80s thing. Los Angeles Angels, who weren't in Los Angeles at the time, but I think one of the... Oh, a guy that kept fouling it off into the dugout. It looks like something from the 80s. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when exactly this was, but yep. So yeah.
All right.
So Bernie Calkins corner right there. Shout out to Bernie Calkins for being an active member. I appreciate it. So we're gonna, if you post something on that page, we're gonna pick the best one. It's gonna be called the Bernie Calkins corner. We'll shout out whoever posts on it as part of the thing. But we will at least talk about it, whatever our favorite one of the week is. So, okay, with that, Rich, let's talk Masked Singer real quick. You want to talk last week? How do you feel about last week?
Can you jog my memory of who went home, please?
Not the right person. Let me get to it real quick. Boop, boop, boop.
But I guess only because I'm most familiar with what happened in this past week.
Yep.
Because we just watched the episode this week. I liked the format that they did of saying that, all right, it's going to be Boogie Woogie and the Pearl, and then Coral and the Mad Scientist monster.
Yeah, I like that a lot
that
too.
Type of format to say, all right, these two, they're both going to perform. Then you're going to vote, and then the two that didn't make it are going to do a face-off.
Yep.
And I liked that it wasn't that they chose their own songs to perform.
Yeah, I liked it too.
Not the same song, but with their different, unique take on it. I'd have to say that with the way the voting went, I was kind of surprised that the Pearl won in the head-to-head battle. I really haven't been that impressed with the Pearl overall, and if they had stuck to their format of taking 3 people to the finals and eliminating somebody today off of the head-to-head with Coral and Boogie Woogie, I really liked Boogie Woogie better than Coral in that matchup. And overall, as I thought that
Paparazzo, by the way,
dominant week. Paparazzo.
Yeah, Paparazzo. And he did that, and he did Unpretty, and I thought he did a great job. I thought overall he was great. That's what I said last week. I'm gonna let you talk about it real quick, okay?
Okay. I could have sworn we did talk about the paparazzo being eliminated last week, being eliminated the week before. But it's almost like we've kind of figured that out that whenever it seems like the panel is on to who it is, that's the person that's getting eliminated from week to week. And when you had multiple people on the panel guessing Matthew Lawrence, then that's obviously the person that's going to get it.
I'm back.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised that the paparazzo was on as long as he was. I mean,
I thought he did
the whole
great. I
I
don't.
thought he did do great too, but I was kind of surprised when it, he was the Group A's automatic performer going forward into it.
Yeah, I don't think he deserved that, but I thought he deserved to be in it, in the Lucky Six, and I liked him. I don't think he was the worst person in in it. I think Pearl. I, I think Pearl did an okay job. Um, it, only because of the song choice. Other than that, I don't think she deserved to be in it. Now, let's talk this week. This week, we end up with uh, so they have the finale, or this where they do the head-to-head battles. We loved all that. It was great. I think both of the people that lost their round were the wrong ones to lose. Boogie Woogie was better than Pearl, and Coral was better than Mad Scientist. Now, part of me is biased.
You know what? I can understand it. I thought he did a good job with the song by Sabuzi, but he just didn't bring the amount of energy that song normally has when it's being performed. And he also kind of played to his strength, which you've said rightfully so. It seems like every single song, every single time you perform it either is somebody else's country song, or he turns that song more into more having a country music type feel.
Yeah,
and you know what, we complain the same. You can't say, well, that because we like country, I like country music, that hey, he's doing great, I love this guy, but on the same hand, hate on the Frog from years ago when he was constantly just doing rap the entire every single performance, and probably more winning for his stage presence and dancing than on his performance.
Yep. Here's the deal, and this is what I've told my wife every time. Mad Scientist, if you like country, he's doing great. His voice is great, but he's shown zero range. And this show is more about, and that's the hard part. It's about who's good. It's about who nobody knows who can figure out who it is. And it's about, but so often we see that the ones that actually win are the ones that, most of the time, I'm not going to say every time, but most of the time what we see is the ones that win are the ones that can do a wide variety of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I'm just, yeah.
No, I get it, and I think if I had to power rank these four people, I think my power rankings would be the Boogie Woogie. I really like what he's done from week to week. He's been the dominant, or he should have been like
No, he has been the dominant.
Favorite performer.
I don't understand how Pearl. Again, I think this is Pearl's best, but I think Pearl's best doesn't hold a candle to Boogie Woogie's even worse, which I don't think he's done a bad performance yet.
So I would go. So I'm thinking Boogie Woogie. I'd probably go the Coral, the Mad Scientist, and then the Pearl.
That's exactly how I would do it. Yeah, that's exactly how I would do it. And outside of that, you know, and I think even this week. But then what happened, Rich?
Well, the Lucky Duck came on.
Rang a bell.
Unofficially rang a bell and sent everybody to the finals.
Yep. Mostly
And
so
then
they could reveal who he was.
A fluff piece about I'm gonna unmask instead.
And it was
not take it to the finals on who this person is.
It was Rita Ora's husband.
Yep. I have no idea who it is, but
he's a great director. He's directed a couple of the franchise, Endgame. Marvel he did a Marvel Universe, couple of those. He's a good director.
Oh, okay. So he's a director. Okay.
Yeah. You've seen him in memes. Most like Rich, I'm guessing if you looked it up, you would know his memes. It's when it's a picture of him showing an iPad to Kate Blanchett, I believe it is, when she's dressed in a costume and looks like a goddess from Norse mythology. And Taika Waititi looks like, I mean, again, you saw his hair's a little crazy, his beard's sometimes pseudo unkempt, has a neck beard, has all of that stuff going on, and just doesn't care and looks, and it's one of those memes that has been memed out, and I'm sure you've seen it. And
so yeah, if anything, you know what, we don't have to deal with the Lucky Duck in the finals.
Yeah, and that's okay. So, okay, with that, Rich, any shout outs for the week?
No, not really.
Okay. I have two.
All right.
Dave Vonk. Well, let's start with tomorrow. It is Dave. No, not Dave. Tomorrow is Brian Downing, the principal of Okoboji High School's his birthday, and then Monday is Dave Vonk, the elementary school principal's birthday.
Nice.
So, with that, Rich, what's it time to do?
Well, Mike, let's go ahead and roll that outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa, this is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.